Well, hello and welcome back to Box Office Chat, where we break down the top 10 best performing films within the United Kingdom's box office. This is for the weekend February 1st to February 3rd, 2019,
Yep.
Stephen. It's a reinvigorated box office this week. There's a whole host of new releases, which can mean either good things or bad things. If you've seen it, good things. If you've not seen any of them, bad things. But what's at number one, Stephen? I'll stop giving it away here, man.
Number one this week, John, it's How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, which is in its first week. It's grossed £5.2 million. Overall, £5.3 million.
I've never seen this film,
No,
Stephen. I've never
no.
seen any of the films. In actual fact, this is a franchise, obviously. We were actually discussing it before we came on. This is a multi-part franchise. I think it's been in various different formats. It's been a TV show. There's been a few films. But look, I have to tell you, Stephen, it's got a $129 million budget and it's sitting at $85.5 million worldwide so far. And that opening £5.5 million is very decent indeed for a film in the United Kingdom. You want to Rotten Tomatoes, 98% ratings from the critics and the audience. And it's not like it's just 2 or 3 reviews or maybe 1,000 reviews from the audience. It's nearly 50,000 ratings from the audience and 51 from the critics. Just one rotten rating out of 51. So by all accounts, a very good film. And I have to say, you look at the cast, looks very intriguing, and the visuals look very intriguing too. I don't know why I've never seen any of these films. I may have to re-look that and go back and watch these and see if it's going to be something that's up my street, Stephen. I don't know. Maybe
John, I'm the same. I've not seen any of the films or the TV series. But looking at that cast, when you look at the likes of Jay Baruchel, America Ferrera, that's the girl who played Ugly Betty, isn't it? F. Murray Abraham, Kate Blanchett, Gerard Butler, Craig Ferguson, our very own Craig Ferguson, Jonah Hill, Christopher Mintz-Plasse. The list goes on. You could be here all day just
Christopher
rhyming off these.
Mintz-Plasse, that's ass kicker, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
motherfucker.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that, but yeah, that's who it is. But listen, what a cast. And it's getting 8 out of 10, 8.0 out of 10 on IMDb as well. Yeah, and that's after 10,000 reviews. So
you look at the director as well, Stephen, Dean DeBlue, I don't know how you say his name, but he has been involved with How to Train Your Dragon 2 and a whole host of other very intriguing films like Lilo and Stitch, and he was also involved in How to Train Your Dragon, the first one. So a guy who has been involved with this franchise from the very beginning. Yeah. So he also gets what the hell they're doing here. And as you did say, without repeating everything you've said, very impressive cast indeed that they've assembled here in terms of voice acting. I don't know who's come back from the previous iterations, who's new faces, but I'm really impressed by those visuals. I'm just looking at the poster, I'm looking at the short little trailer on IMDb. Looks very, very cool. Looks crisp, clean, and it's maybe something I would have to get back in the rest because I've never seen any of them. Therefore, I can't really discuss it much more, Stephen.
No, listen, in its first week, 5.5 million grossed. I think that's very impressive.
That's very, very impressive.
Franchise, it's been around for a while now. But we'll move on to number 2, John. It's Green Book, and its first week, it's grossed 1.7 million over the weekend and obviously overall. This is a film I'm desperate to see. I know that you've seen it.
I have.
I'm desperate to see it because of the cast more than anything. But maybe you can fill us in a little bit about what the film is about, John.
I absolutely enjoyed this film, Stephen. I thought I absolutely enjoyed it. I don't know what that even means, but I digress. I thoroughly enjoyed it. That's what I meant to say. Just an outstanding film, Stephen. My favourite film of this year so far. This is a 2019 release here in the United Kingdom, despite it saying 2018 on IMDb. That was the American release. So my favourite film of 2019, hands down. Obviously, you've got Viggo Mortensen in there and Mahershala Ali. Tony Lip, Dr. Don Shirley, and basically Viggo Mortensen is playing a sort of a bouncer figure for the mobsters. I think it's in New York, I believe, or Chicago, one of those towns anyway. I can't recall which one. I think it was New York. He's an Italian American, and then he gets asked or offered this job or this position to chauffeur Mahershala Ali's Dr. Don Shirley through the Deep South. He's a jazz pianist, or he's not a jazz pianist, sorry, he's a classical pianist, but he can do jazz, as you see at the end of the film. And it's just also him going through this racist backwards part of the United States without offending anybody from there. It was backwards back then, and not that anybody's going to be watching it from Alabama or wherever the hell she went to, Stephen. But the Green Book title is all about this book that coloured people or black people people of colour had to carry throughout that part of the United States during that era. Basically, there was certain hotels they could stay in, certain hotels they couldn't stay in, and this book listed all of those various different hotels. And obviously, Viggo Mortensen's Tony Lip had to carry this. So it was just an amazing, kind of focused on those two primarily, going through how they rubbed off on each other. Tony Lip was a kind of a simple figure, with simple interest, and Dr. Don Shirley was a more cultured man, he was a more intelligent man, and he taught him how to write. He was writing notes back to his wife and stuff like that. And then Tony Lip also rubbed off on Dr. Don Shirley as well, and he made him a little bit more lighter, brought him down to earth a little bit more, because he was kind of up his own arse at the start, in the nicest possible way. But two incredible performances. Not surprised to see both of them being nominated widely in all the various different award ceremonies. Obviously, most recently, Mahershala Ali has won for the BAFTA just the other day, Stephen. So, and he thoroughly deserved it, because he was just absolutely outstanding again. One of my favourite actors in today's generation.
Very charismatic man, isn't he?
And Viggo Mortensen playing an Italian American, and the guy, I don't know where he's from, Viggo, but he's not Italian American, and he nails it.
I think with a name like that, it's probably Scandinavian.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe Danish. That's what I was thinking, obviously. But look, an incredible story. She's showing, highlighting the false racial sort of a political correctness we've got going through current and back then, where people will kid on, they're all nice and nice and PC, but then under the surface you've got that racial tension bubbling away, and you see it perfectly with obviously Dr. Don Shirley's interactions with these high class sort of a white folks around about the deep south, where you can tell they're just blatant racist gits, but they're just trying to appease them. And you see various moments where they're showing him to a toilet outside and stuff like that, and he's like, I'm just not using that.
Peter Farrelly, John, is the director, I noticed.
Yeah.
One of the Farrelly brothers.
Yeah, Stephen, absolutely outstandingly directed. Everything about the film, beautifully shot, just an incredible character study of this great man that's kind of been forgotten with history, but he's rightly been shone on now, because he was a very cultured man who had to go through his fair share of shit. And this is a real story. These two guys actually met, developed a very close friendship after their journey through the Deep South. So it was a stunningly written, directed and performed film, and so pleased to see they're getting nominations all over the place. I think Viggo deserves to get more recognition. He's kind of getting snubbed a fair bit here, but
we'll move on, John, to number 3 this week. It's Glass, in its third week. It's grossed another 900,000 over the weekend. Overall, 8.6 million. I finally got round to seeing this film.
Did you finally see it, Stephen?
Yeah, there was a few obstacles in my way with illness and stuff like that a few weeks ago, but the ending, the last sort of quarter of that movie. Was the director playing it? I don't know. I don't know. Did we keep it spoiler free the last time we were talking about it?
I think we did. It's been out for 3 weeks now. But if you've not seen it now, then you really do.
Sort of the way that the characters were ended.
Yeah,
I kind of spoiled it.
Yeah, they were all ended.
No, it didn't sit nice with me at all. But this director's famous for these twists and turns, and do we have another twist and turn left? Maybe in the next film, I don't know. It doesn't.
I don't think in a way it's going to bring Elijah Price, Kevin Wendell Crumb, or obviously David Dunn.
I wouldn't have minded the way if this was going to be the film that they would see their demise. It's the way it was done, though. Yeah, it was just the way. I would have even preferred them to maybe redeem Kevin Wendell Crumb, because he had that interaction with Anya Taylor-Joy's character. Yeah, it hinted in it heavily that she had this ability to take him out from all these split personalities and bring him back to the light. Exactly, yeah.
So they totally blew that, Steve. She brought him back, only for him to subsequently be sniped in the torso and die. But and then also Elijah gets absolutely destroyed.
For most of the film, it was a brilliant film. Yeah. It was really just that last sort of quarter of the movie that really, for me personally, just let my expectations down a little,
I'm an absolutely massive fan of M. Night Shyamalan. I can't applaud the guy's directorial ability anymore, Stephen. I think he's just incredibly talented, and he did create a fantastic film from start to finish. Just my personal choice in the creative direction in that final quarter of the film didn't match with his, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It just means I didn't like the direction they took. But Horses for Courses is was it George Martin? I always forget his name.
Yes, George Martin.
Once says back in the day, Horses for Courses, that was one of his famous sayings. Of course, the Beatles producer. But I digress. $222.3 million worldwide. This film's grossed. $20 million budget. That's an outstanding performance. Can't really say much more than that. I've said everything I've got to say on it. We've discussed it in the blog rundown. I enjoyed it for the most part. but the ending left a slightly sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah, same here. Number 4 this week, John, it's Escape Room in its first week. Don't know much about this film.
No.
It's grossed £800,000 in its first week, obviously overall as well. This is a film by director Adam Robitel, and it's about 6 strangers find themselves in a maze of deadly mystery rooms and must use their wits to survive. It's getting 6.5 out of 10, very average rate. It's above average on IMDb. This came out here in the UK on the 1st of February.
Yes, Stephen, I've never seen the film. I've never seen any of the other films. I say any of the other films. They're not linked in any way, but there has been, I believe, 2 or 3 for a similar name.
Right,
one came out only 2 years ago, but this one, by all accounts, isn't that great a film. 48% from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes. It's had 124 reviews counted, 59 fresh, 65 rotten, 48%, as I said, 57% of the audience enjoyed it. So it's not a great film, but it's got a 57% rating, I should say. That's not representative of their enjoyment. That's just the rating that's been given. So not a great film by all accounts. I don't know the director. I don't really know many of the people involved in the film either, Stephen. I can't lie. I do believe Logan Miller rings a bell, but I'm not going to go into specific actors and stuff like that.
When you look at where it's positioned in the top 10, John, it's the reason it's at number 4 is when you actually look at the breakdown of the rest of the films. They're very low grossings this weekend. Previous weekend, I should say, and that's the reason it's sitting at number 4. I'm not saying it's a bad film by any means, so I've not seen it, but it's not a film that really intrigues me, I've got to be honest with you.
I do know Logan Miller, Stephen. He was in A Dog's Purpose. He played Todd. He was also in quite a few episodes of The Walking Dead as Benjamin, and he's been in, what was the other film? Love, Simon. So I do know his face, but all in all, it's not a film I'm going to go and watch. It's not getting good enough ratings. There's plenty of competition. Albeit I've seen most of the competition, so I don't know what my excuse is.
Here's one
I just don't want to go and see it.
Here's one of them, John. At number 5, it's Mary Queen of Scots. In its 3rd week now. It's grossed another 800,000 over the weekend, 6.6 million overall. Yeah,
thoroughly enjoyed this film as well, Stephen. I did discuss it last week, I do believe. Kind of a stumbled over a few words last week. I'll try my best not to do that this week.
I'll try not cough over the top either.
Manipulative was the word. But basically it is about these 2 primary female protagonists, 2 rival queens. I like to say, I don't want to say rival because the 2 of them aren't rivals technically. They've got a close relationship, they can both understand each other. To a degree, they never meet until the end. I don't think they even met in actual real life, but what a digress, you need some creative licence in there to keep the audience involved and participating. And it was a good, obviously emotional payoff at the end to see these 2 finally meet. But $37.7 million worldwide is not too bad. £6.6 million for a film of this nature, a period piece about obviously a warring English and Scottish queen. I think that's probably about right, Stephen, when you think back to some of the films, even the likes of The Shape of Water never really got much beyond £10 million, so that's about right. Some brilliant performances in there, and I says last week after I'd seen it, obviously David Tennant, Saoirse Ronan and Margot Robbie, they are the 3 standouts. David Tennant is sublime as the ranting and just loudmouth John Knox, who's a absolutely hysterical Presbyterian leader who's chanting about the ills of this woman with a crown, the scourge in the land, I think he refers to Mary as. Mary, Saoirse Ronan, I had some doubts about her Scottish accent when I seen the trailers. I have to say, it was pretty damn good. So she's Irish, so she should be halfway there. She's just a sublime young actress, man. She's just absolutely outstanding. And she brings so much humanity and fight and virility to that character. Margot Robbie, again, just one of the best actresses, young actresses again. Not so young, not as young as Saoirse, but still young. She's younger than me, and she was outstanding as Elizabeth. Great portrayal of these 2 characters, what was going on inside them. Never went too deep on them. It was fairly superficial in the main, but really highlighted the manipulation of all the lord and male figures around about, the tyranny, what's the word, Stephen? Propensity for backstabbing. So all in all, I enjoyed it.
We'll move on, John, to number 6 this week. It's Vice in its 2nd week. It's grossed another £600,000 over the weekend, grossing overall 2.5 million. Yes,
I've finally seen this one as well, Stephen. I did get along and watch this one because I really did want to see it, because it was a film that caught my fancy, you know. I'm intrigued in politics and just these nefarious figures that are littered throughout the past in politics, certainly in the United States. But we've got a fair share of rogues and vagabonds over here as well. And look, Dick Cheney is one of the primary vagabonds or rogues from United States political history, certainly the recent history. Have to say, Christian Bale utterly sublime, or sublime, I should say, superb and sublime mixed together. Outstanding as Dick Cheney, the transformation of a man. And it's not just the older Dick Cheney from the early 2000s when he was in also the Bush Junior administration. It's just, it goes back to the 70s, it goes back to his younger days, and you see him transforming, and it's just incredible to watch on the screen. He really does take this film, Stephen, to another level with his performance. Amy Adams again, outstanding as Lynn Cheney. I don't want to say, I don't know how I'd describe her, but just she's got a job in her hands, obviously having to deal with him, even in his younger age, when he's out drink driving and stuff like that. He was a handful, but she stuck by him. Steve Carell, Donald Rumsfeld, again, I don't think he's getting as much attention as he deserves, Stephen. I thought he was one of the fantastic performers in this as well.
He's
and Sam Rockwell.
Just getting back to Carell before you move on to Rockwell, John. Carell's always one of these unfortunate one of these actors that's pigeonholed. He's always going to be pigeonholed. I've seen him doing serious drama, and he's an amazing actor. Very similar to Jim Carrey in that sense, where he's always remembered for his sort of goofy behaviour.
It's always great to see the comedic actors stepping out of their boundaries, Stephen, and out of their comfort zone, and he is just incredible as Rumsfeld. He really embodies that character as well, just the relationship he had with Dick Cheney, kind of a rose to the top together. And Sam Rockwell as George W. Bush. I would never have thought he would have looked like George W. Bush, but he nails him. He just nails him.
Josh Brolin played Bush Jr. Maybe about 15 years ago. And again, I couldn't picture him, but he nailed it. I think George W. Bush has just got all those characteristics. It makes it very easy for a very good actor to portray. Just pick out those little sort of, those little habits, those mannerisms. Not mannerisms. I'm about to have an aneurysm, but it's just a very easy character to nail if you're a very good actor.
Look, Stephen, the one thing I'd say about the film is, also we did discuss this when Gianni done his review, and I kind of echo the large majority of Gianni's thoughts on this film. It was structurally a little bit, it was odd. There was a mid-credit roll, middle of the film, it rolls to a fake end credits, and you've got Dick Cheney walking up the stairs with golden retrievers, talking about how he went off to be a successful golden retriever breeder, and he was doing Ironman challenges, and then it just flips right back into the film again. So there's things like that going on. It's flip-flopping back from the past to the present, showing you how it shaped the man. I love Adam McKay. I've thoroughly enjoyed The Big Short. I've enjoyed quite a lot of the films he's been involved in. But it does kind of get caught in between going for an out-and-out satirical sort of a piece on this heinous figure and becoming too focused in and drama, character-driven film, and it's tonally it feels a little bit strange. Structurally, it felt a little bit strange, but the performances just make it an excelling, an excellent watch, Stephen. There's the word excellent. I digress, but I've not got much more to say on that one.
John.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
We'll move on to number 6 this week. It's is it number 6? Number 7? Number 7. Sorry,
we're having a great time here, Stephen.
We'll go back one, but it's number 7 definitely. It's Mary Poppins Returns, and it's 7th week, and it's grossed £500,000 over the weekend, and that's just standing out a sore thumb here. 41.8 million overall.
It's very good.
It's very good indeed, isn't it? I think we both agreed that this release came prior to Christmas. We both said it was the right thing that they did, the studio, regardless of what we felt, what they did with another film because of it. Listen, it's come up trumps. 41.8 million here in the UK is an amazing accomplishment. Mary Poppins Returns, it was a great film, great sing-along. Not really caught onto the songs as much yet. I think after maybe some repeat viewings,
after 50 years, I think they'll maybe have a little bit more.
But listen, performance from Emily Blunt, very big shoes to step into.
Ben Whishaw,
and I think she managed it.
Yeah, she did. $336 million worldwide as well, Stephen, off of a $130 million budget. It's made a profit. Disney have been vindicated. I've said it time and again. If a musical is constructed well, and you get the right people on board, and the songs are even remotely catchy, then it will take off over here in the United Kingdom. We've seen it time and again with various other musical films. They just hit over here, and that box office performance here is just outstanding, Stephen. £41.7 million. Sublime. As you did say, Emily Blunt, fantastic. It's not really getting much recognition at the awards, and I say not getting much, it's getting nominated in the technical categories. and obviously for music and things, but it doesn't seem to be picking up any wins.
For performance.
No, which is a shame, but that's just life. There's a lot of competition this year.
Definitely, John. We'll move on to number 8. It's Can You Ever Forgive Me? In its first week, and it's grossed £500,000 over the weekend, and obviously overall. That's a film. Did you see this, John?
I did see this. I've seen this twice.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, was that good? Melissa McCarthy, Richard E. Grant, Dolly Wells, etc. This is directed by Marielle Heller. I'm not familiar with the person's work, but this is when Lee Israel falls out of step with current tastes. She turns her art form to deception. Yeah,
that's it exactly, Steve. She becomes a forger.
Yeah.
She starts forging famous writers' documents and obviously forging the signatures and selling it for monetary gain. She's in a bit of a hard part in her life. She's hit a slump.
Yeah.
She was on the New York best-selling list with a previous book. Can't get an advance payment on a new book she's working on. I can't remember the name of the bloody person. It's a famous kind of a performer from back in the day. She's doing an autobiography on her. I can't remember what the name is. That's terrible. But I digress. She can't get an advance payment. She's hit the slump. Her cat needs vet treatment. She's got rocketing vet bills, and she has to go and try and scrape some money together. But I digress. It's not really about that in the main. It is about that. She's running about forging things and obviously raking the money in, but she gets caught, as they always do. But it's more about this relationship between her and Jack Hawke, played by Richard E. Grant. Lee Israel was Melissa McCarthy. Someone I wasn't overly enamoured with her, but I have to say I am now. I enjoyed her. This very, very, very good performance by her. I'm not surprised to see she's getting some recognition from the Oscars, from the Golden Globes. I believe she got nominated anyway, and just the awards in general. She was nominated for a BAFTA. Richard E. Grant's been nominated as well. The two of them are absolutely outstanding in this. They've got great chemistry. They work off of each other. I spoke about vagabonds.
Yeah.
You don't get any more of a vagabond than the Jack Hawke character. He's a kind of a couch surfing. He's flip-flopping around. He's homosexual, middle-aged, well, slightly older chap. He's selling cocaine, and he's a character, Stephen. He's a maverick. Yeah. He meets up with Melissa McCarthy's Lee Israel, and the two of them just hit it off. They go off in a kind of a excitable run, a ride. They're drinking during the day, and they just don't care. And it's just I thoroughly enjoyed it. I just thought it was a beautifully written little film. It shows you this woman kind of regaining her place in society. She's fell away. She doesn't care. She's drinking herself into an early grave. She's staying alone with her cat. She's not connected to anybody. Connects with Jack Hawke. Brings her back into society. She goes through probably one of the worst points in her life. FBI investigations for fraud. But in a way, she says at the end in a beautiful speech, it's the worst part in her life, but in the same time, it's some of the most alive she's ever felt. It's the most alive she's ever felt. Brings her back, and you see her going through a great redemptive story towards the end. I really enjoyed it. Thought it was outstanding. I've seen it twice, as I did say, Stephen. $8.4 million worldwide. It's not doing outstanding by any means, but I really urge anybody who's perhaps watching this, who's not seen it, to go and give it a watch, because it's outstanding. Yeah, we'll move on to number 9 this week, John. It's Stan and Ollie in its 4th week. It's grossed another £400,000 over the weekend. Overall, 9.3 million. This is another one of the ones that I said last week. There was 3 that I wanted to go and see. Stan and Ollie was one. Glass was another, which I did go and see. I've seen Stan and Ollie now. I've just got to see Vice now, and that'll be me caught up. But Stan and Ollie for me was it's what I expected. Yeah. I think the trailers did a lot of the sort of painted the picture of the tone it was going for, and the direction that what was the director's name again? John S. Baird.
Yeah, Scotsman.
Scotsman, yeah.
What he was looking for in both John C. Reilly and Steve Coogan, portraying these two famous men, not what we see on the silver screen, but what we see behind. Yeah. And certainly on theatre as well, because that's what it's heavily focused on in this. It was their latter years, doing the tour in the UK of the theatres, getting back to sort of, I don't know if it was their roots, I can't remember if, if that's how they started. But performance-wise, both of them were amazing, absolutely amazing. I felt they both captured their mannerisms, their voices were very identical. Oliver Hardy, I would say, is maybe easier to impersonate. I think Stan Laurel's voice is a very unique voice. Yeah, and I think he's a even more complicated man as well, Stephen. Just what's going on inside him. He was clearly the more
thinker, he was a harder worker, he was the brains behind the two, without doing Oliver Hardy a disservice. I'm not saying he was an idiot, but it was a writer, he was a guy that really powered them and fought the studios and producers and stuff to obviously get better finance and money for what they were doing. He was the brains, he was a more serious figure, which you wouldn't think looking at the actual films and shots and stuff like that. He was always playing the bumbling idiot, and Oliver Hardy was playing the more serious guy who was dragging him along. But it's kind of a flip of roles in the actual personal side of the two men. I completely agree, Stephen, that the trailers did paint a perfect light on what this film was.
Yeah, definitely did, John.
Was going to be in the end. It was focusing on a very different side of these two men. You had the theatrical side of it, showing you them switching on when they had to, but it really heavily focused on
the emotions,
the inner workings of these two men, their relationship. And I thought it was a fantastic film, really quiet in parts, beautifully written, beautifully directed, two outstanding performances. Just a shame to see John C. Reilly maybe not getting as much recognition as Steve Coogan. He has been nominated in a couple of awards ceremonies, most recently the BAFTAs. I keep talking about the BAFTA, Stephen, but he didn't win, but I thought he was outstandanding.
Yeah, definitely.
In many ways I thought he was probably better than Rami Malek, but you're not going to get an award ahead of Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, I think it's easier to play a flamboyant character. Well, I say that, I'm not an actor, but I think that kind of character that Freddie Mercury was, very flamboyant, loud, in your face, it kind of assists itself. But I think playing someone like Stan Laurel, especially if you don't know too much about their personal life, and I think Coogan did a great job.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Stephen.
We'll move on to number 10, John, this week. It's the final film this week in the top 10. It's The Favourite, and it's in its 5th week now, and it's grossed 400,000 over the weekend. Very impressive, £13.6 million.
Yeah, really pleased to see Olivia Colman, Stephen, obviously Rachel Weisz most recently, and Yorgos Lanthimos as well, getting recognition for this film. I really enjoyed it as well. I've seen it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Everything about it, just the feel of it. It was weird, wacky, dark, black humour aplenty. Some really outstanding performances, most notably the 3 female figures. It was essentially about them. The Favourite, the title gives it away. It's these two underlings. Well, I don't want to say Rachel Weisz's character was an underling. She was more than a match for Queen Anne, played by obviously Olivia Colman. But them vying for her attention and being her favourite. It was a weird relationship she had with them. And just Olivia Colman, absolutely incredible performance from her, playing this conflicted, kind of a pitiful but at the same time slightly annoying and quite aggressive at times character. But I've really enjoyed it, Stephen. The music has been getting praised aplenty as well in the awards, and the costume design. And I just thought it was an incredibly crafted film. It had a little bit of everything, and just I thought it was even the structure of it. It was broken into action, stuff like that. All in all the way through, writers, directors, everything really deserved the plaudits they're getting. And look, $69.2 million worldwide. That is really outstanding for a film of this nature. This couldn't have had a monumental budget by any means. But look, I've not got much more to add. I've seen it, I really enjoyed it. Glad to see it's getting the recognition it deserves in terms of awards and obviously commercial success in the box office.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But I digress. I'm ending the show here, Stephen. I'm ready to pass it over to you. No, I end the show. That has us reached the end of Box Office Chat this week. Did you enjoy this show? If you did, comment below, like the video, subscribe to our channel if you're enjoying the content we're putting out, and we'll be back tomorrow with Movie Burner News.